All right, YouTube, Sunday, March 13th, 2022. Got a little snow last night. During the day yesterday was the main event. About 5 or 6 inches or so, nothing tragic, but anyway, I was busy plowing yesterday, so I figured, well, I'll do the sap today, make some syrup. So I'll give you kind of a run through of what I use here, how I do it. And there's going to be 300,000 videos on YouTube on various ways to make syrup. Basically, do it how you want it. It's whatever works for you. I started out with a turkey cooker, propane turkey cooker, and that's really what got me going into it. Problem with that is it takes a long time, and you have to buy propane, so that's not cheap either. Because you'll at least burn through a tank doing it each time. So I tried it. After that, I tried to figure out ways to kind of do this without spending a lot of money. So we'll show you the operation I have over there. But we got to start out at the tree. That's where it all happens. These are my sugar maple trees. This is a massive one. This baby's probably 30 inches around or so. I basically come out here mid to late February and I tap the trees. So I got a 5/16 drill. I kind of go in at a little bit of an angle there. You can see it's kind of tilted up a little bit. I could even go a little more. 5/16 drill. You drill in about 3/4 of the length of the drill bit and tap your tap in there, your spile. So you tap that in there. I got the hose that comes down, and this is my 5-gallon Home Depot bucket. Before anybody has a stroke and says it's not a food grade bucket, it's a lot of these buckets, and I didn't really think about it until I did some research, but the ones at Home Depot, or at least these ones, are the number 2 there, HDPE. I don't know if you can read it, but that's good enough for long-term food grade storage. So these are certainly perfect for what I do it for. But basically, I just stick my tube in there and it fills up the bucket. When you get a good sap flow day, you'll fill up this 5-gallon bucket in a day. Easy. It's below freezing today. It's in the 20s, so there's nothing flowing today. This week, it'll be up into the 50s. So this will fill up pretty quick. So I'm hoping by about Thursday I can do another batch. When they're empty, I throw a rock on the top. Otherwise, the wind will blow and your bucket will go flying into the woods. So pretty much just wait for that to set up. Now, like I said, it could be a day, 2 days, 3 days. It all depends on what the weather does. As for the tap holes, there's one from, I think this is last year. You can't really see up in there, but back in the shadow, it's filling in. The tree heals itself over the course of time after you drill these, so you're not hurting the tree at all. On these big trees, you can do 3 taps per tree. I forget the exact measurement. It goes by diameter of the tree as to how many taps you can put in, but this one I only got 1 in here. Actually, this is another hole from another year. Might be able to see in there, but the wood's filling back in, so it's fine. This tree has got to be, I don't know, it's at least 50, 60 feet high, if not more. And it's got to be, 60 to 100 years old. I have a bunch of these. Fortunately, it's right by my house, so this is easy for me. But there's one right here, and then 2 and 3 more back there. So I got tons. I could really go all out doing this, but it's very time consuming. So I do between 7 and 8 buckets. This year I got 7, and I get about, the last batch we got just shy of a gallon of syrup, so that's pretty good. The ratio is about 40 to 1. It could vary depending on sugar content of the sap, but generally 40 to 1 is about what you get out of it. So we'll keep going here. I'll show you the other parts of the operation. Okay, so we're over here at the boiler now, the cooker, whatever you want to call it. I got this started. I started about 8 o'clock today, so about 3.5 hours in. I've emptied those 2 buckets plus that one I just showed you on the tree over there. So about 15 gallons in. I have these remaining to go. That I just took the ice, the big ice chunk out of and threw in this burner in the back here, this pan. That pan seems to boil better than the front does. I think the heat more travels to the back. So that one really gets up on a rapid boil. You'll see that here in a little bit. But this bucket here, you can see how this piece will actually come out of the bucket. And you cook that, like you put that right in there. It's going to kill your boil because it's really cold, but there's sugar in that. You know, there's syrup to be made, so don't throw out the ice. This is another one here. I put these by the cooker so they'll kind of thaw out a little bit as I go. But no, do it up. If you got warm weather, you won't have to deal with the ice, but since it's been cold here, you have to deal with the ice. But this is just a 50-gallon oil drum that was modified by my wife's grandfather. He built it for me. The only deal I had to make with him was, you gotta give me syrup, kid, so I build it for you. But it's a 50-gallon oil drum. He kept the lid on it. You can see the bolt there where this ring would normally come off. I cut a hole in there, just made a little door so you could throw the wood inside. I got pretty much all pine I burn here for this. This is a Scotch pine that blew down over the summer on my property, and I split the wood up and seasoned it, so it's burning like a champ now. But the pine wood burns hot. Doesn't burn very long, but you get tremendous amounts of heat out of it, which is what you need for cooking. And he rigged something up here. These are just saucepans that you can buy. Well, not saucepans, but steamer pans. They're stainless steel. You can fit just about a 5-gallon bucket in each of them. A little bit shy, but they've been working great. And then this has to be like year 6 I'm doing this, and these are the original pans that I bought. It's really quite amazing to think that they'll withstand the heat that it gets put through, but it does. So you just got a stack going up, goes out of that. I don't know how he rigged these up. This is like stainless steel, I think, because it never corrodes, but he welded the front here. But there's like different plans of these you can look at online and see how they work. Lots of people make them. You can even buy them prefabricated. So, but if you can boil water, you can make syrup. Just need the time. It takes a lot of time, but we'll do some more updates here as we go. All right, so we'll do a little afternoon update here. We're now at 3 o'clock, so this is going on. Got it started at 8, so we're going on 7 hours. Here's where we're at. So we're still boiling. This is the kind of boil you want going here too. Turbulent, good boil. That's you're getting the most evaporation out of that. This one on the back here, or the front I should say, it's more like a warmer tray that I use it for in its capacity, because this one will boil, but it takes a long time. So what I end up doing is, by the time this one's ready for more sap, this one's at a low boil, which is good, because then I can just transfer it over into the back there, and you can keep the boil going. So that's the key to the whole process, is to keep the boil going. If you can keep the boil going, you're getting the most evaporation that you can possibly get over the course of time. So right now we're 30 gallons deep. We got 30 gallons of sap. We're down to what's there in the pan. I got 5 more gallons to go, and then we'll do the final cook down and bring it in the house. From this point, we're looking at probably another 3 to 4 hours, I'd say. So it should be done around 7 o'clock tonight. which is pretty good. Turkey cooker, when I first did it, was like 14.5 hours. So we cut it back a little bit. Now, like I said before, this is one way to do it. I mean, they make other units where you can really process a lot more sap a lot quicker than I can. This is a huge upgrade from the turkey cooker. So the upgrade to this would be one of those like ones that you would see in a commercial operation. Maybe not to that size, but a bigger one, longer one that's auto feeding the sap as you go. They do make them that do that. This one I got to come out and do it manually. I think I could probably set up like a siphon system on it, but I just keep an eye on it. I come out, you know, when I know I'm doing this, I'm devoting my day to it. Like, you can let this go for a half hour to 45 minutes, and then you got to come back out here again. So it's just part of the deal, you know. It's just it's a day where you're devoting to doing this. But the results are sweet, pun intended. But anyway, yeah, we'll do a little update here later after I get this last bucket processed in there, and then we'll bring it in the house and show you how to kind of wrap it up here. Some points I forgot to make here, like while I'm out here adding sap to the warming pan, I'll take just just have a Pyrex here. That's how I transfer it from the warmer to the other one in the back. But I'll scoop off this like foam that makes here, this develops. I'll just scoop that off, get rid of it. You don't need it. All it is like it just foams up. I don't really know what it is, to be honest with you. Probably is something particular, but I found that it kind of collects a lot of the impurities that are on the surface. So if you got, you know, like out here, you get some leaves and crud blows in, it'll kind of collect in this froth. So works out pretty nice. I just take a little scooper there and scoop that out. I forgot to show you too on the bottom of this. This is where you can adjust the air intake. You can see the fire in there. I just leave it wide open when we're doing this. Need as much air as you got. But I found it actually burns better when you keep the door closed. You'd think opening the door would kind of help it along, get it hotter, but it seems to burn a little better and boil a little better when I got the door closed. So I just leave it wide open there, and away we go. All right, so just went outside. I pulled the pan. I was going to get a video of that, but I was watching Junior here. I didn't have enough hands to hold the camera and everything. But basically, that second pot that was closest to the stack, I waited for that to go down to about a little bit below a half of that. And then all you do at that point is you just come out, and here's your concentrate. So this is our stock pot here that we use. I'll finish it in the house here. This will be probably about another hour or so on here. This will start getting to boil, and what you want to see is what your temperature for boiling is. This kind of, it's sort of consistent, but it sort of changes too on day to day. Like we're right at like about 209 there, 210, and we're just starting to come to a boil. So this will become syrup at 217. 7 degrees above the boiling point. So we're boiling right at 210. So we gotta wait for that to go to 217, and it'll take a little while. Like I said, probably an hour. So we'll just let this go, and that's it. We'll do another video here when it's about ready to pull, and you can see what the difference looks like. Like this still has quite a bit of water in it. You can see there's a lot of steam coming off of it, and it's also larger bubbles. You'll see when it gets closer to being syrup, the bubbles will become they'll become smaller, and they'll become a lot more of them. It turns into more of a froth. So we'll show you that here in a little bit. All right, so while we're waiting for this to boil down a little further, we don't have too much longer to go here, but it's still got a little ways. I like to prep my filter. Filtering is 90% of this whole thing. I mean, yeah, it's work setting the buckets up, collecting them, you know, looking after the fire all day, keeping the boil going. But if you don't have a good filter, a good filtration system, it's going to be for nothing, because what develops is sugar sand as you cook this down, and it's going to contaminate your sap. It's going to contaminate your syrup, I should say, and you're going to end up with cloudy syrup. Won't look pretty. It won't look like you buy in the store. You know, it looks crystal clear. You'll end up with sediment on the bottom, etc. So filtering is a #1 key to this whole process. And what I use for it is this bag. Now, this is an Orlon bag. It's almost like a wool, from what I read, what Orlon is. I never heard of it before I started doing syrup, but this bag is reusable on the outside here. So you rinse this out, it'll dry. You need pre-filters with these. So I got 2 pre-filters. There's a pre-filter here, so I'll end up pouring the syrup down there. It'll get filtered through here, through this one, and then through the Orlon bag. So it goes through like a 3 stages worth of catching material. And I've had really good luck with it. It's worked really well for me. My syrup comes out excellent, and this is all I do to it. I don't filter it beforehand coming out of the pot on the cooker. You could, some people do, but I just do the Orlon bag here at the end, and it works great. So we'll show you that process a little bit when we get there. But for now, the boil continues. All right, so we're getting closer to the end here. I'm gonna show you how the bubbles have changed in the pot here as we're cooking. They're becoming more numerous, and we're getting more of a froth going on, and that's an indicator that you're getting pretty close. So as you can see around the corners, we have a froth that's pretty steady. It bubbles are getting thicker. You can also, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but the sound is changing too. The bubbles aren't, it's more of like a deeper sound, if you will. The bubbles sound different, but you can see how that's kind of frothing up on the sides. So we're getting close. All right, so this is what it starts to do when we're getting really close. This is where you really got to watch it. You end up turning the heat down a little bit. And see how it really, well, if I can get the frog off of there. It really starts to froth and starts to actually climb up the pan. That's when you're getting close. I just knocked the heat down here. This should go down in a second. But we'll let this go down and we'll see what the temp's at. But that's what it starts to do. So when you see that, a couple minutes here, we'll be done. Alright, so I got the froth to go down. I turned down the heat a little bit. I don't know if you can see it, but we're like right at 211 on the gauge there. So not quite there, but it's getting very close indeed. Alright, so we are here. Look at the gauge on there. Right at 217. Go back down there a second. Right at 217. So this is it. This is ready to pull. So I will do another video here after I filter it. I can't hold the camera and filter it at the same time, but I'll show you. Alright, so here's the filtration process. We got the bag hanging here. You can see the completed syrup coming down. We're going to fill up that pint jar. I did 3 quarts here so far. So there's a little bit left in the bag here. So that'll trickle out. And you get what you get. You could try to heat it up again, but most of it comes out. There's very little that's really left. So that'll be mostly a complete jar there. And what's nice about bottling this stuff hot is these mason jars will actually seal. So then you can store this for a long time. Like we've got syrup from 2 years ago downstairs, and it's fine. So this one will be one that we use pretty quick, because this probably won't fill all the way, and it's also getting cooler at this point, so it won't seal. But I mean, you can have it in the fridge for months, even not sealed. It's fine. If it gets a little mold on it, you just take the mold off and scrape it off with a spoon. You can eat it. It's kind of like cheese. If you have a moldy part on the cheese, you can take that off. But that's basically a wrap up on how it's done, start to finish. Now there's some particulars in there I probably forgot to mention that I just do. I don't really think of it, but that's how we do it. Is it the best way? Well, I don't know. Works for me. As a hobbyist, it really just takes my time. I don't spend much money into it. I have to get those pre-filters for the bag every year, and once in a while I'll buy a new Orlon bag every couple of years, and that's like 25-30 bucks a piece. So you might spend, you're spending 25 bucks a year for the bags, that Orlon, the wool bag on the outside, that's another 25 bucks. Other than that, getting the firewood to do it and the time. But other than that, it's really pretty simple to do. It's not rocket science. So if you're thinking about doing it, try it out. You really can't mess it up. Worst thing that you can possibly do is burn your batch of syrup at the end. If you're not paying attention to it and some time goes by, you'll burn it all in the pot. You'll turn it into candy, and good luck getting it out of the pot. You'll probably have to throw the pot away too. But I did it once. I think it's a rite of passage. So if you do it and that happens, don't feel bad. We've all been there. But it is a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, follow, whatever they say. And catch you on the next one. See ya.